Hello, Taurus. Welcome to your April Soul Session. I'm Princess India if you're new. And if you're family, welcome back, my friend, and whatnot, or whatever. I'm laughing because every time I turn this camera on, I always feel like I'm like staring, like, and then I'm like, oh, okay, it's recording. Okay. Don't talk about me. I am a Taurus. These are me saying my thoughts out loud. But anyway, we're getting into your soul session for April. We're going to be looking at an overall energy as well as a challenge. Then we're getting into a more specific spread for the month of April for you guys. So if these cards ever come out of this deck, we're going to go ahead and get into it. But how have you been, Taurus? Have you been fine since last month? There goes one I can take. I'm going to take this too for continuity. I'm going to go ahead and pick the cards for our more specific spread and hop right in, Taurus. But I hope you've been well. You know what I'm saying? But anywho, your overall energy for the month of April. Oh my God, are we kidding right now? This came out for Aries, but it was in the reverse. We have the Seven of Swords. You guys know when I get the Seven of Swords, I say what you skip will trip you up later. You know what I'm saying? And the challenge. Interesting. We have the Hanged Man. We also know that when I see the Hanged Man, because one day I forgot, we say Cancer, Pisces, and Aquarius because I couldn't remember. So now this card is all three signs because I said so in the light thereof of memory. But anyway, moving right along. So with the Seven of Swords here, Taurus, like I always say, what you skip will trip you up later. So this is really speaking to patterns, right? It's things that we're doing where, we shoot ourselves, proverbially speaking, in, the good foot. You know what I'm saying? It's self-fulfilling prophecies. It's self-sabotaging behavior. It's things that, we're passively overlooking or things we're kind of turning a blind eye to. It's shortcuts that we are taking to get to a particular end goal. And we may be deluding ourselves to the fact that, we might get there quicker, or this is the smarter way or more efficient way to do it. But what we always end up finding out in the long run is that we have somehow shortchanged ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Now, with this challenge being the Hanged Man, and you guys may or may not like this. I mean, I feel I wouldn't necessarily be a fan. However, I look at the Hanged Man as a card of personal accountability. So the challenge in the month of April is going to be personally accountable. So it's not sidestepping responsibilities or taking personal accountability for the ways that we have shot ourselves in the proverbial good foot. You know what I'm saying? So it's more or less needing to take like the director's chair of life, like a very objective view of our situation. And much like I told Aries, you have a helper with that this month because of the eclipse that is happening on the 8th of April, which is my son's birthday. I keep throwing that in there. I'm obsessed with my kid. But anyway, on that day, there's an eclipse. And I was telling everyone that's on my network, we have an astrologer there. And she, has a bunch of articles called Astro Tea. And she's going to be posting stuff up about that. Oh gosh, I forgot to say that for Aries. I have a Mercury retrograde course because Mercury retrograde's coming up. And it's free for all my network members. And I mean, it's free to join my network. So, shameless plug right there. But I have it's called the Mercury Retrograde Survival Guide. I have that up on the network. So definitely check that out. But anywho, because that's happening too. But anywho, with this particular eclipse, I feel that this is good for something like this to come out. And I was telling everyone in Aries to, peruse YouTube. There's tons of astrologers here to try to find out some additional information, on that. If you're not on my network, to kind of, keep yourself abreast, because if there is like a self-sabotatory cycle that you've been in, and you know that you're a self-sabotager, but you don't know how to kind of break out of it, the energy is really in your favor during this eclipse. And then it's like, changes that span out to like 14 years and all the things. But anywho, but this is an opportune time to really take that personal accountability and, get into the driver's seat and make those changes that you may have wanted to make for a long time. So overall, this is pretty much saying to me that there are actions, behaviors, thought patterns, what have you, that we're participating in. But the whole message for the month of April is for us to take personal accountability into how it is that we're holding ourselves back from progression and moving forward, right? Now, getting into our more specific spread, our central energy, which is representing you all, Taurus. We have the Knight of Wands in the reverse. Your past influence, interesting. I can see where this is going. We have the Chariot, that is Cancerian energy. In your subconscious influence, which is, oh gosh, that's crazy. This came out for Aries too. We have the Eight of Wands, your hidden influence. Your above energy, which is your potential outcome. Okay, I'm here for it. We have Temperance at Sagittarius energy and what to look out for moving forward. Oh, okay. We have the High Priestess, which is Pisces energy. Some people say Cancer, I'm saying, and whatnot or whatever. I feel like I need to say, if we look at what signs I affiliate with the Hangman, Pisces and Cancer would be quite prominent in your reading. And I know all the planets are going to be in the 12th house, and Pisces is 12th house. So if that's relevant to anyone, I know I have a ton of 12 house. I have like 4 12th house placements in my chart. It's insanity. It's crazy over here. But anyway, moving right along. But with this Chariot here, this is our energy that is speaking of the latter part of March coming into April. So it's more or less coming into the month of April, Taurus. You guys are in a good place. It's more or less being on one accord with yourself. So I would say, plans, goals, aspirations that you guys have had in the month of March and how you intend to move forward is very much in alignment. You're, on one accord with yourself. Or if we were to say it in the context of like heart and mind, your heart and mind are in unison. And that's why there's been a positive progression moving forward. However, much like I was saying with our overall energy, which is why I said as soon as I turned it over, I was like, I already know where this is going. With your central energy being the Knight of Wands in the reverse and that representing Taurus, I feel this is going back to the Seven of Swords energy, which is things are going really well. I'm balanced, right? And it's like instantly trigger self-sabotage. You know what I'm saying? And what I feel the pattern is that's happening here is it could kind of sound like things aren't happening fast enough. On another side, it could feel like waiting for the other shoe to drop. You know what I'm saying? Like things are going too well, like something has to go wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like things have been too good for too long, and that kind of provoking a bit of fear. And this is stuff I'm channeling, y'all, because this is coming to me pretty clearly. So this is for somebody out there. Hello, Taurian brethren or sisterin or siblingin. Hello, how you doing? I'm Princess India. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. But what does it sounding like to me? Because I'm getting like a whole energetic impression of someone. How can I say this in words? This is like someone where, gosh, I don't know how to say this in words. Help me out, guides. I need help. Because it's like what I'm seeing, y'all, the way my visions be, like what I'm seeing, it's not even like a real tangible thing. Like I'm literally seeing like, it looks like 2 walls and light goo coming between them. It's insane. But what this is like, it's a person where when you're put into a situation, so I'm gonna have to kind of describe it to make this make sense. So this is a Taurian person where when you find yourself in a situation, and what would make the most sense to me is kind of like at a crossroads, right? where you have to make a decision about something, that provokes a level of anxiety. And I'm not talking about a decision like, should I get mint chocolate chip, or dulce de leche? You know what I'm saying? Like with big decisions, like when you find yourself of like, should I stay at this job or should I quit type of deal? You know what I'm saying? When this person finds themselves in situations such as that, it provokes like a level of anxiety. So it's like indecision. So even though you may know what it is that you want or what you desire in the bigger picture of things, when you're backed into a corner and you have to be the one that makes a big decision like this, it's like an irrational kind of anxiety comes over you, to where for every reason this path can seem right, it's the same number of reasons that this path could seem right. And everything that seems wrong about this path can also be wrong about this path, right? But and it's like it's overwhelming with trying to, and this is so weird. It's weird because it's coming to me so specifically, y'all. So on both sides, it's like everything that's right, everything that's right, everything that's wrong, everything that's wrong. But because I'm feeling the anxiety, it's like it consumes you to where it's like going cross-eyed, and like you it because I'm seeing it like someone becoming, and I have compassion for you, because that feels like a lot. Because it's almost like, dude, getting so overwhelmed to where, not saying that you literally have panic attacks, but it's almost like on the cusp of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying like a full blown, you're hyperventilating and all the things, but that's how much stress it puts on you. You know what I'm saying? And because you don't like that feeling, totally don't blame you. Because you don't like that feeling, you have a tendency to like disassociate. And that's where your self-sabotage cycle is. So when you're like in a position, I don't want to say forced, but it's kind of like that. When you're in a position to where you really have to make a decision about something, it's a fear and an anxiety that overcomes you. And it kind of reminds me of something that some of you may be familiar with. If you're not, I'll tell you a TED Talk to go watch. It's called I think it's called the Panic Monster or something like that. The Panic Monster. And I think if you just put Panic Monster TED Talk, it'll come up, because I think the guy's name is like Tim. Definitely go watch that. I'll link it in the description box. It's one of my all-time favorite TED Talks. But he talks about this process and the correlation between procrastination and perfectionism. That's like the energy I'm picking up on. It reminds me of that, because a lot of people don't know that perfectionism and procrastination are correlated. And if you're familiar with MBTI types, like my type and many of my subbies types, and INFJ, a lot of us, just from the complex of how our personality is set up, a lot of us fall victim to this, where it's the perfectionism of, you picture something in your head and you know that when you try to create it in real life, it's not going to be as dope as it is in your head. And that's like a level of frustration and disappointment. So you will procrastinate doing something because you don't want to deal with that disappointment of you trying to make it perfect when you already know it's not going to be. It's the same thing with perfectionism and procrastination. It's the thought of, you want every little thing to be perfect. That within itself provokes anxiety. So it's like if you're writing a paper, you know that you're gonna, meticulously outline it. And that within itself is anxiety. You don't like that feeling. So you avoid writing the paper because you don't like that feeling. And that is the procrastination. That's very much what I'm seeing in this Knight of Wands and the reverse of this person's energy, or people, I don't know. It might be a bunch of y'all. This energy signature that I'm picking up on, but the thing that's being highlighted is like, that's your self-sabotatory cycle. So there are things that you want to achieve in your life. There's things that you want to accomplish in your life, but that requires making a decision and sticking with it. Because what that kind of says to me is that anxiety is really coming from the place of the fear of making a mistake, or the fear of making the wrong choice, or the fear of making that choice and then possibly regretting it. So your coping mechanism is like, I'm just going to disassociate and I'm just not going to make a choice. But choosing to not make a choice is still inadvertently making a choice. I see people do this all the time with their finances, you know what I'm saying? Or their teeth, or their health, to where something's kind of going on, but you're just like, oh, I'll deal with it eventually, you know what I'm saying? And you just never really get around to it. But that's very much the Seven of Swords energy, because you're really hurting yourself in the process. Like, what you skip will trip you up later, because you're hurting yourself in the process. Because, yeah, you're terrified of the dentist. You don't want to go to the dentist. So you keep putting it off, and something, that could have been, I don't know, like a filling turns into a root canal or turns into like a whole or tooth extraction or something. And if you would have taken care of it in the beginning, it would have been a minute problem. But instead, what's tripping you up later is something that's way bigger than it would have been if it would have been addressed in the beginning. I hope and pray that that's making sense. But that's what I'm seeing in this Knight of Wands in the reverse. Also with this Eight of Wands in your subconscious, because that's like, what is it? It's a term I learned from my Gen Z clients. What is it? The Zoomies? I did not know that was a thing. Kept hearing people say it, was trying to use my context clues, didn't work. So I finally asked, what is that? So the Zoomies, I feel that that's the underlying subconscious force that's happening. And the Zoomies in the context of, this is very uncomfortable for me right now. Like, I don't like being at this crossroads. I don't like having to make this decision. So it's like, I'm just going to close my eyes and do something. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to close my eyes and pretend that this isn't happening type of deal. You know what I'm saying? So that I can get over this, because I don't like this space. Now, what I feel that the goal of this is what we're seeing in the Temperance card. And this is going to become real tarot therapy in a second, because I just heard a word and I was like, I've never used that word with this card, but now I will always use this word with this card because my guides are bomb. And I'm like, why you ain't never say that before? I love it. But anyway, but what I feel the overall goal for this is for you guys to come to the middle of the road, or for you guys to exist in a state of dialectics. That is the term, I've never used with this card before, but it's more or less like, for those of you who are familiar, my therapists out there who are watching, with, dialectical behavioral therapy, good old DBT. It's like Temperance is being in a dialectic state. It's like two opposing things. Like, I always talk about the Likert scale. These are two sides of the Likert scale, right? But us being at the middle road, being in the space of Temperance, that's being in a state of dialectics, while you're the two opposing things simultaneously, right? Like, you're a walking paradox in a sense, you know what I'm saying? But that's what I feel the overall goal is. So it's more or less not necessarily saying that instantaneously Taurus is going to have all the right answers, and I'm suddenly going to overcome this anxiety, and I'm suddenly going to be a great decision maker. You know what I mean? It's because sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you do need to take a step back, but it's more or less you coming to a place of being comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Because I feel the only thing that's self-sabotatory, it's not the fact that you feel anxious, because you have every right to. Making decisions sometimes is anxiety provoking. And sometimes there is a lot of things on the line that you do need to really take a step back and really think through and weigh. But the issue that I'm seeing here, that I feel is what's being brought to the fore for you all's benefit, is it's the aversion of said challenge, right? It's that lack thereof, like I was saying with the Hanged Man being you guys' challenge. It's the lack thereof of taking that personal accountability. So whenever one finds themselves in discomfort or in an unease, if you will, it's running away from that. You know what I'm saying? And if we continuously run away from that and only want to be in states where we feel a sense of peace, it's truthfully an illusionary state. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not real, right? It's like, I don't know. I just heard that. But I mean, it's a great analogy. My guys just said stolen valor. And I know that's like a thing. That's like when a person like impersonates like a person who's in the military, you know, like to get stuff or whatever. So it's like you getting a benefit from something and you didn't really earn, you know, the privilege of having this particular state. You know what I'm saying? Like you never served our country. You know what I'm saying? So you don't deserve the free coffee. I don't know if people in the military get free coffee. I'm just making that up. If you do and you don't like coffee, then give it to your friend princess. But anyway, moving right along. But it's like stolen valor. So it's a state of peace, right? A pseudo state of peace that you really didn't earn, you know, because you seven of sworded, like you cheated to get it. You're avoiding conflict to be in peace. And that conflict is just going to keep coming up and following you. So what I really feel that the end goal of this is more or less Taurus coming to a state to where you're not skirting over the uncomfortable things and just kind of irrationally jumping and doing things, or like I said, completely disassociating. It's allowing yourself to sit amidst the discomfort, but also simultaneously seeing the positive, right? It's like, I trust myself. I know that I make good decisions, right? I know that this could potentially work out in my favor. It's okay that I don't have the answers right now. That's totally fine. I'm not perfect. I don't get everything right all of the time. You know what I'm saying? And it's giving yourself that freedom to not know, but also trust your judgment simultaneously. You know what I'm saying? And kind of holding, like I said, it's like a dialectic state. It's you learning to not know and know simultaneously, and knowing that that's okay. You don't necessarily need to be on one side or the other of the Likert scale, right? You don't have to have all the answers, and then you don't have to be in a state where you have absolutely none. You can be both of those things at the same time. And that's really what temperance is speaking about. Like that's that middle road path that all of us are striving to exist in, you know, like that's that state of peace, that state of, you know, non-attachment or true mindfulness, if you will, right? And with us going forward, what to look out for with the high priestess, which is why I feel us being in that dialectic state is important, because with the high priestess, that's our God space, if we could say it that way, like our intuition, like that wisdom of our heart, and seeing that across from this chariot, because most of you guys, some of you will know how I see the chariot. I feel the chariot is truly a statement of what our goal is as humans that are evolving, which is mastering your mind. You know, Osho talks about this. It's like, why is my mind why does my mind run like crazy when my heart wants to say something? And you could look that up too. But it really speaks to the fact that your heart is the true master, right? Your heart is the seat of your soul. That's where the high priestess lives, proverbially speaking, right? But your heart is a gentleman. It's not going to impose its will on anyone. You know what I'm saying? But your heart is the true authority and true master, whereas our brains are thinking that it's the true master and it's never been outside your skull. You feel what I'm saying? So the true role of the brain in our head is to be a tool or to be in service to the heart space. You feel what I'm saying? So if you're getting divine guidance from the high priestess via your heart space, then we utilize the mind as a tool to move the chariot, you know what I'm saying, to get us to where it is that we're trying to go. So overall with this Taurus, I feel this personal accountability in the month of April is the key that unlocks your destiny or your highest state, if I could say it that way. It's like the only thing that is holding Taurus back from their best life is literally taking personal accountability. And the, you know, anxiousness kind of thing, that's just an example of what could be a myriad of different things for a lot of Tauri out there. But what this is really telling you in so many words, it's giving you an opportunity to step into your full power. You know what I'm saying? Because temperance is like, I don't know why I keep saying great Dundada. That's like the lamest thing. But temperance energy is like the great Dundada of states to be in. Like that's in a state to where you're experiencing life, and you can look at life from the perspective of life is happening for you as opposed to happening to you. It's like you can I feel like I'm talking DBT, y'all. You can regulate your emotions, right? And you're not like a feather in the wind. You're not at the will of life in so many words. It's like things can happen and you can say, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable, but I'm not going to allow what it is that I'm experiencing in the external world to overtake me within, to where, gosh, this really feels like a DBT lesson, to where I'm exiting wise mind. You know what I'm saying? To where you're coming out of your seat of authority. You feel what I'm saying? So what I'm seeing in the cards, Taurus, is in the Chariot. This is a place I feel many Taurians have come to a million times. You know how to set a goal, you know how to set it up in your mind, but you can't figure out, why is it that I can't get over this hump? Why does it seem like I keep hitting this freaking glass ceiling? I am a workhorse. I work hard. I like money. I like nice things. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you can't seem to get over this hump. And I feel the cards are revealing the why. It comes to a certain space where there's something that acts as a trigger for my Taurians, and it triggers like this kind of maladaptive self-sabotatory behavior where, we want to move past this discomfort to get to the good stuff. But it's more or less saying that there's a need to be in that discomfort for a little bit and to navigate your way through it and to stop taking shortcuts around it, because you're going to keep running into it in the near future. You feel what I'm saying? And like I was saying before with the whole eclipse that's happening, I feel like this is a beautiful thing to be coming up, because if this has been a block for many Tauruses, this is an opportunity to let this go once and for all, so you can show up as the fullest version of yourself. Because there's so many Taurus readings from the past that I've done that are coming to me at the moment. But one in particular, I believe this was from 2019, like late 2019. I don't think it was 2020. I think it was like late 2019 or late 2018, early 2019. And it was the contortionist. And it was like this whole open vision I had right before I started the reading. Because back in the day when I used to see stuff, I used to tell you guys at the beginning. But it was like this Taurus person I saw that was like a contortionist, like in Cirque du Soleil or something. And it's like their leg was freaking over their shoulder and their head was like under their leg and stuff. And that was representative of how Taurus had contorted themselves for other people. It's like all these things that Taurus had modified about themselves to fit into this mold when people were like, oh, I don't like that. You're too much of this, or you're not enough of that. You know what I'm saying? And how that molded them. That's kind of what it is that I'm seeing here. It's like unraveling yourself and standing up right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to link that below as well. But it's like standing up right now, but still trying to figure out, what the hell is this glass ceiling? Like, why am I still not where it is that I feel that I should be when I'm clearly doing everything? And I feel like it's something that's subconscious. It's that desire to move too quickly or move past that discomfort. You know what I'm saying? And this is more or less teaching you the way to deal with it in the meantime and go through, because, as the phrase says, the best way out is through. I'm gonna go ahead and add that song to the playlist too. But anywho, Taurus, that has been your soul session for April. I hope and pray that that made sense, because I feel like I said a lot of stuff. Hopefully you're still with me. If you're still with me, put broccoli and cheese emojis, in the chat. Or if you're watching this, after the live stream, go ahead and put that, in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Our season is coming up soon, Taurus, so this would be a nice time to deal with some things. But I hope this made sense, guys. As always, I love your freaking face, and I will see you guys sooner than later, my